Hey guys, welcome back to another Aussie Buckets video. Today we're going to be showing you how to measure your pins for a standard pin size declaration form. Now this will be for any attachments that are fitting up directly to a quick hitch, and we'll cover what you need to do to make sure you get a perfect fit for your new piece of gear. Let's check it out. Now to measure up the pins, there's 5 main measurements we need. A and B, which is the distance between the ears, C and D, which is your 2 pin diameters, and E, which is your distance between the pin centers. Normally you can get away with just using a measuring tape, but if you've got a pair of calipers, they can be really useful as well to get a diameter of the pin. Now starting off with your A and B measurement, we're going to use the measuring tape to get the distance between the bushes. Now it's super important you don't actually measure the ear plates. You want to measure from this bush that's sticking out here so we get the full usable pin area. So starting off at the front pin, we're going to check that A measurement. So we just put the measuring tape on one side of the bush to the other, and we've got 330 mil. Do the same for the B pin on that bush there. And on this machine, they're the same size. So we're going to put 330 mil in for our A and B measurement. Now next up, we're going to measure our 2 pin diameters, our C diameter and our D diameter. Now we recommend using a pair of calipers. It makes it a lot easier because you can smack it straight on the center of the pin, but if you only have a measuring tape, you can measure it from the edge. We just have to be careful measuring pins from the outside because sometimes the pin might have a taper or a cap, which can give you an inaccurate measurement. So we're going to take our calipers to a clean part of the pin on the side here that doesn't have any concrete or buildup. And we can see that that's 80 millimeters for our C measurement. Then we're going to check the back pin as well, our D measurement, and that's also 80 mil. Now, most pins are going to have the exact same diameter on any machine below 40 ton. Above 40 ton, it is common to see different pin diameters, so it's important just to check both pins. All right, the last measurement we're going for today is our E measurement, which is our pin center to center. There's a few ways to do this. If we have the same pin diameter, the easiest way to measure it is from one front of the pin to the front of the other pin. But if we have 2 different pin diameters, we have to get them perfectly in the centers. You'll see that on your larger excavators. Now, most buckets, you're going to have a good side to measure and a bad side to measure. This is the bad side because the pin's not sticking out here, so we don't have a real good spot to get the tape except on the side of the bush, and we've got the pin sticking out here much further, so it's going to give us a bit of a diagonal. So we're going to jump on the other side to get a cleaner measurement. So you can see on this side that the pins are a lot more exposed, so it's much easier to measure. We're going to measure from the back of this one to the back of this one. That's the same distance as the center to the center. So we put the tape on there and we can see we've got 430 mil when I'm holding that one on tight. Super important you don't mistake measuring the inside to the inside because that will give us an inaccurate figure. And as well, if you are measuring from direct centers to direct centers, you need to make sure that you know where the actual central point of that pin is. So that's why we recommend whenever possible, and if you do have the same pin diameters, to measure from either the fronts or the backs together to get an accurate measurement. Now, if you're running a quick hitch, this measurement, if it's not super accurate, may not be an issue, but especially on half hitches, you must get this perfect to the millimeter or the bucket won't fit. Now, if you are ordering a hydraulic implement and it's going to be using the auxiliary lines on your machine, it's worth noting that all Aussie Buckets attachments come with BSB flat face couplers. So if you don't have couplers on your machine or you've got some non-standards like Agri, just chuck that on the declaration form so you can either throw in the correct couplers or a spare set for free to make sure it all fits up nicely when it gets on site. All right, guys, that wraps up the video showing you how to measure out your pin sizes. Now, if you do have any further questions, you can either email our team at documents@aussiebuckets.com.au or chat directly to our production team on the mobile number below. Thanks for watching.